Greetings everyone, my name is Tony Holowitz, and in this tutorial about ACT, I want to talk to you about sort of my process for following up with people, whether they be clients or prospects, and how I keep track of what I've done. So here I have a contact on the screen, and I'm going to pick up the phone and call this person. Now, as I'm calling the person, what I will typically do is come up and click on History right here. And when I click on History, I want you to observe a couple things. First, it says call and call completed. Now, I always leave it at call completed by default. I've set this as my default option. There's other options here, but I always leave it as completed. And the philosophy behind that is really simple. 99.9% of the time when I call someone, I'm going to have one of two things happen. Either I'm going to speak to them, probably about 20% of the time, or 80% of the time, approximately, I'm going to leave a message. So technically, I've completed the call, and I'm not going to split hairs here. All I'm concerned about is recording the date that I last called them. In the regarding field, I can put something in there if I want. I can modify or have these modified, but let's say I just call it a check-in. Well, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come down and click on Save. Now, when you look at the screen, I want you to observe that there's a field here called Call Reach and Call Attempt. I typically, for my clients, take out Call Attempt because I just think it's overkill. The Call Reach field is the field that's going to be impacted. So sometimes when you do things in ACT, you don't see the changes right away until you refresh the screen or navigate away from the contact and come back. In this case, to refresh the screen, and this is the web version of ACT, I'm going to press the F5 key, Frank 5, and it's going to refresh the screen. And now what I want you to observe is in the Call Reach field, it put in today's date. So that's the first thing I want you to notice. I recorded the date of the call. Next, after I hang up, I'm going to send out an email. Now, for just a moment, imagine that you're in the ice cream business. I'm going to click on email right here, and it opens up Microsoft Outlook. Over here on the right-hand side, I have a template that I've saved, and I'm going to click on this little ice cream, chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. I'm going to click on this little box. It fills in the subject line and the body, and that's all I have to do to send the email. So now I'm going to click on Send, and now I've called the person and I've sent the person an email. Those two things. So when you refresh the screen, you will see different updates. Now, this particular account in my ACT account isn't hooked up to my email. But if it were, you'd also see in this field in the latest activities, the email would be today's date because I sent the email. So two things happen here. I'm seeing the last time I sent an email and the last time I reached out. And why is that relevant? It's relevant because down the road, by recording this information, I'm going to be able to turn around and say, okay, who are all the contacts in my database I either haven't called in a certain period of time or haven't emailed in a certain period of time. So those two fields will allow me to find the contacts that fit certain criteria. So there's a saying, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. I'm putting the garbage in, putting this information in, so later on I can come back and get it out to find contacts I feel I need to reach out to. So my process is this. I try to follow up with prospects and clients on a regular basis, and that's how I track it. I track it and send them an email because now I've left them a message or spoken to them, and now I can turn around and also send an email based on what I want to try to communicate with them. And typically in the email, I'll put some type of call to action. My call to action is I use an online calendar where people can book time with me. That's my call to action. So again, they can call me back or they can email me back. So I've covered my bases. I think I've done everything I can to reach out to this contact. And if it's a client, I feel like that's good customer service. I'm trying. And the one thing I hope you noticed is I always start the subject line with my name, because even if they don't read the email, they saw my name. And my hope is even if they did not read the email, they saw my name and they know I'm trying. They know I'm attempting to provide good customer service. Thank you, everyone. My name is Tony Holowitz, and I just want to give you that quick overview of my approach when reaching out to people. Have a great day. Bye now.